Okay, so we are going to learn about different ways of setting the width of an element, right? So you can see that you have the element. Normally, you can set the width in pixels. You can set the width in so many different units that we looked at. You know, the unit of measurement of CSS. There are 4 other ways of setting the width that I don't think we mentioned. And because of that, I want us to look at that today. They are very powerful. And you don't always have to use pixels to set the width of an element. And when you're using the pixels and you're using the percentages to set the width, there is a problem that normally happens. And the problem is that you can give a very small width that it is so small that the content won't fit in there. Or you can make the width so big, and then you have a very small content, right? So you're wasting a lot of space. So when you're using pixels and percentages, they don't take the length of the content into consideration. So when I'm talking about element and I say content, what do you guys understand by content?
The words that are written on there.
The words, the text that is
The
written,
text.
the text. Yes. So that is the content. And you know, all that we are trying to do is to put that content on the page. So what we really care about is what? The content. Not the other things. Not just occupying space. Why do you want to occupy space? You want to occupy space to put a content in there. So the content is the main goal for what we are doing. So I want to show you different ways of setting the width of an element that would take the content of the element into consideration. So let me create a folder for this. So add a folder here and say CSS width. Okay, so in here, I'm gonna add a file, say width.html. And if we go into this, because I want to demonstrate view in browser. And some of these things, they use them during the grade also. So you can use them anywhere you want, but in the grade, they use that a lot. So right now there's nothing in the file. So let's put some code in here. I'm gonna put, say, you know, you do this and then you get a boilerplate. Let's put our styles in here. Okay, so we're gonna have some divs. So this div, let me call it say put some element, some content in there. This is something we all know how to do. Okay, so I'm gonna have how many divs? We're gonna have 4 of them to demonstrate. But there are 4 properties that I want to mention today that allows you to set the weight of an element by taking the content of the element into consideration. So for this one here, let me just make it this long. And then for this, let me make it slightly shorter. Because like okay, okay, let me remove some of this. And also let me kind of add, I don't want to use repetition here, so I'll just do that. And then for the one at the bottom, I think this much is okay. So let's give these elements IDs that we can call them. ID or classes, everything is fine. Let's just use a class equals. So I'm gonna call this auto width. So auto is one of them. And then this one, I'm gonna call it, oh, sorry. I just copy the whole thing and just use it. I'm gonna call this one here, say, I'm thinking, so, you know, naming things is sometimes a little difficult. So main content, I'll call it main content, main content, wait. And then there's another one, say, called max content. If you see main, then you see max. And there's another one called fixed content, fixed. No, fit, sorry, fit it in there, fit content. And yeah, I have seen another one called min max, which allows you to kind of, it's a shorthand to combine the minimum and the maximum. We're gonna try that and see. So for now, let's call these elements out here. And say dot this. We can give it a border of 2 pixels, and solid and color of tomato. But, you know, the only thing we care about here is just the width property. And we're gonna call this one auto. So auto is one of the keywords that I want us to learn today. It allows you to set the content very well, the width in a very powerful way. You know, so if you master these things, you don't have to be using the pixels and the percentages unless you really have to, you know. So let's bring this up. And again, we're gonna meet some of this when we go through the site, the grid. Okay, so over here is gonna be main content. This is how you write it, main content. Then here is gonna be max content. Then here is gonna be fit content. Yeah, I'm very happy that we are covering this today, right? Because we forgot to cover it. So let's look at how this thing is going to look. First of all, before we look at it, let me kind of explain it to you. So the auto is going to take the weight of the whole container. So actually the way the auto works is that it will take, you know, the weight of the whole container. Any space that is available in there is going to use it. So if you have other elements in the same container and some of them have taken some of the spaces, if you have another element that is set to auto, it's going to take the remaining spaces left. So that's the way the auto works. Whatever space that is left, take all of it, and whether you need it or not. So the mean content means that look at the content of this element and then take the minimum amount of space that you need to fit it. And I'll show you what that does. So the minimum amount of space, the way it does is that it's going to look through the content, and then the longest word in there, that's going to be the width, and then everything else will just line up like that. So the smallest unit of space that you need to fit it. And then the max content says that take the biggest amount of space available in order to be able to fit this content. The largest, I would say. And then, you know, the fit content is a combination of all of the above. So let's see. So we save this, it's already saved. Let's view in browser. So this is what we have right now. Do you guys want to put any margin here? Though it's not needed, we can just put some margin. Because that's not the focus, right? So yeah, you can see the divs. Because we set the first one to auto, what is it doing? It's taking the whole space. Divs, the display is always block displayed, but once you set the width to auto, it takes the whole space. It's block displayed, but you can set the width of the div. If you set the width to something smaller than the whole screen length or width, then it will become short for you. Okay, so now look at the main content. So the main content, like I said, it will look at the longest word in the content and then reserve that amount of space. Then everything else will just flow like that. Right now, you have the whole content is here. You can see it. So the max content also takes the maximum amount of space needed to fit the whole content. And then look at the fit content. The fit content also takes the maximum amount of space it needs to fit, but there is a slight difference over there, which I'm going to show you. So right now, as the screen is getting smaller, look at the auto. The auto is responsive. It's flowing to the next line. You can see it. And then also it looks like this is the smallest I can go. This page will not get any smaller than this, which is a shame. It's a little bit shameful. Because I expect it to go very, very small, but see, it's just the default browser behavior. Let me check Chrome and see. We might be better off using it in Chrome. Even Chrome also, that's the smallest it can go. Okay, that's fine. So let's add more content then to demonstrate what I want to say. So we can add more content. Yeah, let's add more content on this one. I mean, this one, it doesn't matter. It will, it will just take no matter how much content you add, it's still gonna get taller and taller. But let's add more content here and see if we can demonstrate. It's a little unfortunate that this thing is not becoming smaller than it is. I have an idea that we can try. Okay, so now let's reduce it. Now check something. See, the fit content is also responsive. See, the fit content, focus on this one, is responsive. But now look at the max content. Max content is not responsive, you can see. So that is overflowing. Part of the content is missing with the max content. And you have to do this one. Use the arrow to see it. So when this is happening, we call it overflow on the max content. But the fit content, you can see it's responsive and it's still moving to the next line like that, as you can see. And it's gonna do that. So let me add more. I can force this. I wanna make this word very long that the minimum content will still kind of get to this point. So I'm doing this in order to be able to prove a point. I don't have to do this. I'm a little surprised that the browser is not able to I'm not able to shrink it to a very small size. I'm a little surprised. Okay, now let's see. So you can see the longest word over here is now this one word. So the main content will have to expand. Doesn't have a choice. So now we go. Fit content is being responsive. Max content will stay as it is. It doesn't bend to anything. But look at the main content now. See, the main content is also not responsive. The main content is not responsive. So It's also kind of acting similar to the max content in a way. But the fit content is going to be responsive until it gets to the point where it gets to the main content, the size of the main content, and then it's not going to be responsive anymore. So if I want this one to shrink to the point of the main content, what do you guys think that behavior is going to be like? So what is the main content of this container? What is going to be the width of it? See this element here, this element. If I'm able to shrink the page to the main content width, what do you think is going to be the length of the width?
50%.
I'm sorry?
What is it, 50%?
No, it won't be 50. It's going to be this. What is the main content? I said that the main content will take the longest, the width is going to be the width of the longest word in the content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the longest word here in this? Is this one?
Yeah.
This one.
Also stop there.
Yeah, so I'm not able to shrink the page, which is a bummer, but if I were able to do it, I could shrink it all the way down. But as soon as the width becomes exactly this long, it will stop shrinking. Yeah.
Okay.
So all that I'm saying is that the fit content is a combination of the main content and the max content, right? And it can also take the whole space, which is the max content, but it does something better because it will shrink, even though the mass content is not shrinking. When this is happening, it's not a good thing, the overflow. Overflow is really bad. So that sometimes, I don't know, I don't think you would want that behavior. So, but you can see we're able to set the width without using pixels, without using percentages, without using anything. So I guess one more question is, why do you guys think that we need to know these things? Like, why do we need this kind of measurement for the width?
So if it's on different electronics, if it's on like a phone, tablet, or computer, it depends on the screen size, right?
But even the percentages also depend on the screen sizes, right? So I don't think that's the reason. Because percentages will also adjust based on the screen size. So we cannot take that. So why do you think we may want to use this one instead of the pixels and the percentages? Of course, it depends on you. You can always use the pixels and the percentages if that is what you are used to. But sometimes this can be very useful also. So at the beginning, I said that we are using this because the pixels and the percentages, they don't take the content into consideration. So the pixel, you just set the pixel. You don't look at the content. What is the length of the content I have? Is it short? Is it long? You don't check that. So sometimes it will be bigger than, you're going to reserve a bigger space than you actually need, right? But if you use the fit content, then it's going to take only the space that it needs based on the content of the element, right? So all the 4 properties that we just looked at, they depend on the content of the element to decide the length that they're going to take. So this is a good thing because of that. So let's see if we can demonstrate the third and the last one, which is, it's more like a shorthand. Normally, if you say shorthand, it means that it's a combination.
The web is back.
Shorthand, I'm going to write it for you. Short.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
I said the web is back.
Oh, the web is back. Incredible. Incredible. That's beautiful. Thank you for telling us we're gonna we're gonna use it now. So let me use the max min, or is it min max? I think it's min max. So min max. So there is another property called the min max. Let's see if it's gonna work over here. So the min max allow you to set the minimum and the maximum. So min. So it's not available here. So that's not available at this point. But when we are doing the grade, we can use it. Okay, that's good. We'll leave it. It's not available to us. Okay, so guys, this is good. Am I recording this or not? Okay, it is. Are you guys saying something?
No.
Do you have any questions on this?
Oh.
So just when you see the max content, main content, fit content, you can even see the content is right there, right? Content. Then auto. Auto means all the space available. It's easy to remember this. So I'll stop the recording.